Hi, and welcome to the weekly forecast for the week of March 27th through till January 1st. And I am Rachel Thompson Phillips. This week, we're going to be going in and looking at what is possibly some of the energy that's going to occur as we have a new moon occurring on Tuesday. And what a new moon is about planting seeds, manifesting what it is that we want. But in order to do that, we've first got to get clarity around what it is that we desire. Rather than being really, really broad, we want to try and get even more specific. So that sort of ties in with the forecast for this week. As the very first card, I will turn them around so you can have a look. The very first card is Pathways. Now, Pathways, this card is for Monday and Tuesday of the week. Now, Pathways is about happiness. As you can see, there's a whole heap of little different types of compasses on there. And this ties in with the new moon. Happiness is one of the emotions that we can sometimes underestimate. Usually we can discover what makes us unhappy rather than being able to come out and say, these are the things that I enjoy to do, and they actually do generate happiness. So this is a really good indication that can help you with the new moon, as in, are you doing things, or are you aligned and sharing your energy and distributing it in channels that are actually giving you happiness back in return. Happiness is one of the most beautiful emotions that we get to share, because it enables us to vibrate at a higher frequency and therefore be more cohesive with our own self. And that happiness is that pure joy that we get to express about ourselves, our life, the things that we are doing. But in order for this to come about, sometimes we are first distributed and given channels that make us unhappy, to be able to recognize and say, hey, how much time and energy am I giving to something that's making me unhappy, as opposed to making different choices and discovering. Now, if you don't know certain things that make you happy, that's okay. Try not to get down on yourself, because it can happen to a lot of us at different times. But just go and be curious and be explorative, and go and try lots of different things and do different things as a way to discover what it is that you can actually say makes you happy, so that you get to then spend more time sharing your energy in these channels that are going to enable you to be happy. Because once we do, we then send out that vibration of energy back out into the ether, into the world, stating, this is who I am and these are the things that make me happy, for them to be beautifully reflected back to us. So it's so important that we give ourselves permission to be able to go and explore what are the things that make us happy, and then asking ourselves the next powerful question, which is, how much time are we actually spending in these elements that is generating our happiness? So that's the energy for Monday and Tuesday. So from Wednesday through till Friday brings up the card of uniqueness. Now, this is a really, really beautiful card, because what it's doing is it's actually stating, and this will come after the new moon, so this is what makes it really exciting, is that this is the card where it's asking you to celebrate and rejoice in the person that you are. Sometimes we can find that we can sit there and we can admire amazing traits about other people. And in some cases, we can be looking to other people for inspiration and seeing where our shortcomings are. And this is not the whole point of that exercise. For Wednesday through to Friday, this element is about being able to recognize the beauty that exists within you. There is only one you that walks this earth. Now, that is incredibly amazing. Your DNA is designed with you in mind. You have so many beautiful, magical elements within yourself. And what this card is asking you to do is to celebrate and share that with people. Because it's like that saying, when you give yourself permission to shine and be the best you that you can be, you're actually giving other people that same permission to be able to do that. Now, this doesn't mean that it's all about just sharing all that, the joy and the beautiful things within yourself. This card is also recognizing that, you know what, I have these amazing aspects and qualities about myself, but I also have these other areas that I'm working on to give energy to. So it's not making a statement that you're only just celebrating all the amazing things. You're actually encompassing the energy of being able to accept all parts of self and being beautifully okay with that. Now, that takes a great deal of courage. It takes a great deal of strength and determination to come to this place where you are accepting yourself, because you know what? Sometimes we're looking externally for people to accept us when the only person that it is important that we accept is ourselves. So when this card comes up, it shows that there's been a lot of internal work that's gone on for you to come to this place where you can just go, you know what? This is who I am, and I am okay with that. And that allows you to resonate in them with this most amazing, beautiful energy that comes from that softness, that tranquility, that ownership, that accountability, all of those places where you're owning the magnificence of who you are. And when someone comes from that place, it truly is a magical energy and essence, because that means that there's an internal piece that is actually going on within. And we are allowing ourselves to share all of these parts of ourselves, rather than having all of these other areas that we may keep hidden or suppressed. This is a moment of integration, of alignment, of true self. So it really is a beautiful time from Wednesday through to Friday. Come the weekend, we bring in this element of femininity. Now, this card still works in conjunction, because I just did a guest speaking role last night, and one of the members that was there was actually a male, and he said, I will be really interested to see how this card is reflective in me. And as I said to him, this card applies to every single person. We have the aspects of our male aspects of ourselves and our feminine aspects of ourselves. When this card comes through, it is about having that element of ourself, of being able to bring through that soft, gentle, nurturing element of ourself. That aspect of ourself that allows us to go with the flow. Masculine energy, yes, it's so powerful and it gets stuff done, but it can come from a place of push, shove, force, make things happen. And that puts us under a lot of duress when we're going through that period, because if you're in a really great mind frame, then you're motivated by that. But if you're not feeling so amazing, sometimes we need this softer, gentler key point to come through for us, so that we can say, you know what, you can do this. Get into your flow. Allow yourself to bring through that softer, gentler person that is just as nurturing and just as motivating, but it decreases the pressure. And that's what happens when this card comes up. It's saying it's time to depressurize, be kinder, be nicer, listen in and check in with the internal conversations that you're having with yourself. Are they words that are expressing self-love, or are they ones that are disempowering you, making you feel like you're not good enough? This card is like having that, this card always reminds me of like when you get a hug from your grandmother, and you know, usually when you get that big hug, she just envelopes you in her whole arms and her whole being. That's what this card is about, is being able to have that beautiful, soft self-love, where you're giving yourself permission to be not just so much gentler and kinder, like I've just said, but softer. And that means, especially if you're a really quite masculine type of woman, this is going to bring through a different quality within yourself, allowing people to see that there are these two beautiful integrations of yourself. Now, for really strong, more masculine women that have worked from that space, sometimes you can find that there's a little bit of a resistance there, but that's okay. It's also a really good time to go in and ask yourself, what is it that you have told yourself as femininity? For some people, they have heard and made that description within their own mind and made a story that being feminine is weak. If that is the case, then it's time to rewrite that story. There is just as many amazing icons that are feminine, that know how to integrate and use both their masculine and feminine side, so that there is a beautiful alignment. This card is about bringing in into alignment that we need to have equal balance of how much that we distribute that male masculine energy, as much as being able to have this energy that brings you back into flow. So when I want you to think of the weekend, I want you to ask yourself, am I in flow? Like a river, it can have rocks in the river, but the water still manages to go over it and go and continue on its journey, rather than bumping like those bumper cars that are just pushing and forcing, and they get to the end, but is the journey that pleasant? Not usually in some cases. So this is a really nice element to be able to go in and self-nurture, self-care in lots of different ways. Think about it from that, physical side. Instead of doing that vigorous workout, maybe it might be time to just go for a beautiful, gentle walk along the beach. From a mental, emotional, go in and catch yourself and ask yourself, are you using words that are a little bit more softer? From a soul and spiritual level, are you actually in alignment and allowing yourself to feel this beautiful feminine flow to work through you, so that you can see that there is the balance being created between these two amazing aspects of ourselves? So these are all really quite poignant at times as we move into the new moon, because you can find that happiness is the most important thing and becomes the theme for this week. And once we can find that happiness, we can come in and learn to celebrate and share and rejoice in being you. For you are the most magnificent person on this earth, and there only needs to be one of you. And that was why you were designed, for you to be uniquely you. And to bring in that softer, gentler side, asking yourself the question, are you in flow with yourself and in the direction that you want to go in? Because once you can answer those questions, then you can quickly go in and ask, if the answers come back, no, you're not feeling like you're in flow, or you may not feel like you're in alignment, that's okay. The moment you can recognize it is the moment that you can go in and create change and start implementing new actions and behaviors that is going to bring you back into flow. So I wish you an amazing week for this week, and keep being you, and I will see you next week. Thanks. Take care. Much love.